All right, so today I'm going to show you how to create a telemetry POV video like this one right now. Now, as you can see in this video, we can see information like the brake pressure, the throttle being applied at the moment, when the TC or the slide control and wheelie control are activated, miles per hour, the gear that the motorcycle is in. Right over here, we can also see the RPMs. We have a map of the track, and also we have our lap times. There's plenty more information that we can get. However, these are the ones that I use the most. I'm going to show you all of the things and tools that you need to make it, and then I'm going to make an entire tutorial from start to finish. Let's start with the basics. Number one, what do you need? First, you need some form of data logger, right? In the motorcycle industry, which is where I'm at, the one we use the most is going to be the AIM Solo 2 or AIM Solo 2 DL. It's pretty much a plug-and-play thing. You put it in your bike, you go, and it records everything. If you have it connected to your ECU, it's going to also log all of the things that the ECU is logging as well. Number two, you're going to need obviously a camera so that you can overlay that data on top of the video that you took. If you have a camera that has GPS capabilities, it's even better because then you can sync the telemetry a little bit easier. And also it means that you have a little bit more of information to extract from the camera aside from the lap timer. Number three, you're going to need the software dedicated to whatever data logger you're using. For example, if you're using the AIM data logger, you're going to need to download the Race Studio for AIM. That way we can extract the data from here, convert it, and then we can overlay that data to here. Now, to convert the data from the lap timer, we need a software. And the name of that software is called Telemetry Overlay. If you want to check it out, there's a link in the description right there that's going to give you a lot of information. I'm going to quickly tell you what it does. Basically, when you extract the data from here using the race analysis software, you're going to get a little file. That file, you're going to input into the telemetry overlay software together with your video, and then you're going to decide whatever gauges and whatever information you want to display on that video, and it's going to render it for you. That's the simple way. Now, let's start with the tutorial from start to finish. It is the day after a track day and you want to start doing your video. Obviously, you're going to take your camera, you're going to take the memory out of your camera, you're going to put the video into your computer, then you're going to take your data logger, you're going to connect it to your racing software. In this case, I'm connecting the AIM to the Race Studio 3, and here's what you have to do. Now, what we want to obtain out of this data logger is going to be a CSV file. In order to get that for a specific session or race, you're going to go into the Race Studio software. Now, it's going to open up, it's going to load, and then in the options menu right over here, top left, you're going to see the two little keys. You're going to go into the data download preferences. You click in there and it's going to open this window. Now, you want to make sure that some things in here are set up to make your life easier later on, right? So, for example, any file that you download, we want to make sure that it has the date on it so you can keep track of it. And you also want to make sure that you download it to a folder like the desktop, right? Because the moment you download it, it's going to be right then and there, and you can just click on it, right? Then you're going to click on the advanced, and you're going to make sure that this over here, the additional export formats, looks like this. I have it so that it downloads literally everything, right? But you just want to make sure that this ones over here, CSV, are all clicked. Because these CSV files are the ones that are going to contain all the data telemetry and is the one that we're going to render into video form to overlay in our video. So once you have everything clicked out in there, you're going to press OK. And now you're pretty much good to connect to your lap timer or your data logger, right? So you turn on your data logger. You connect to your data logger first through the Wi-Fi settings in your laptop, right then and there. And after it's connected, you want to make sure you go over here into the configurations, right? You're going to click on it right here on connected devices. Once you click on it, you're going to go into data download. Now, when you're clicking here, it's going to show you all of the different sessions that you have done. You can pick and choose whichever you want to download, right? So once you have clicked the ones that you want to download, you press data download. Now you put now you put your name, the name of the vehicle, the championship if you want. You can put anything in here. This is all to keep track inside of your racing software. After you press OK, it's going to start to download. And once that's finished, it's going to go directly into your desktop. All right, so this session in particular that I'm going to use is going to be from June 22nd at 2:59 p.m. I look for June 22nd. Right, so when you go inside of your folder, everything is going to be organized by name. So basically, the dates are going to come first. And then we're going to look for 2:59 p.m., right? So here's our first session, 11 a.m. Then the second session is at 1:35. Then third session is at 2:59. Now we're going to look for the CSV file at 2:59. As you can see over here, we clicked on it straight away. This CSV file over here is no bueno because that doesn't contain as much information. You want to go for the CSV file. That is the bigger one, usually between 2 megabytes and like 8 megabytes. You want to make sure you pull it out. And that CSV file is the one that contains all of the information. So once we have downloaded that specific file, that's the end of our first step. Now, I use two computers, one for my racing stuff, which is the one we just downloaded the file on, and then I have another computer for editing. So I'm just going to transfer that file from my racing computer into my editing computer. If you do it within the same computer, then that's fine. You don't have to do this step. Now, the file itself is nothing special. It's actually just a table chart. And that table chart contains all of the information that happened at that specific session from beginning to end. Our data logger is recording at 20 hertz at the moment, right? Which means that you're going to get about 20 data points every single second, right? So if you see right over here, we go from 0.00 seconds all the way down to 1 second, and you're going to have a big old chart of everything that happened during that 1 second. This, all you see right here, is information being recorded, right? Now imagine that was only 1 second. If you scroll down, we have around 12,000 rows of different data points that we logged during that session. So it's a lot of information, right? Now, what the telemetry overlay software is going to do is convert all of those data points into video and render it on top of your already existing video. So now that you know the basic explanation, let's get into the other part. How to use the telemetry overlay software. All right, now that we have our CSV file and our video, we want to go to the telemetry overlay website and download the software if you don't have it already. So we just go to telemetry overlay, and then that should pop up as the first one. Now, in the main page, it is going to tell you exactly what products you can use with it. If you want to do GoPros, DJI cameras, Insta360, the Garmin, the GPX, many things. You can use it with a lot of stuff, right? For our video, we're going to focus on camera and telemetry from data loggers, right? What you want to do is install it real quick, and then boom, you're pretty much good to open it. Opening it right over here, this is what you're going to see. It's going to ask you right away to load the video file, right? So we have our video file right here in the desktop. You're going to drop that in there, and it's going to start analyzing it. Now, you don't have to let it analyze it entirely, but if you want to, you can go ahead and do it. I usually skip it because that's only to see the preview of it in full quality, right? So it tells you right over here, telemetry could not be found automatically, load manually. That's because the video itself doesn't have any telemetry. The telemetry is in the CSV file that we extracted from the race software from the data logger, if you remember, right? So we go telemetry right over here. We go into the CSV file. We drop it in here. It's going to process the telemetry, and then boom, it's pretty much gonna start to give you these gauges right here. Now, here's where you want to pay attention to a lot of different things, right? Sometimes you will see this message. Could not auto-sync external data considering reviewing sync manually. That means that the camera that we were using at the moment did not have the GPS enabled, which means that the telemetry from the CSV file has no way of knowing where exactly this video is at. So it's not going to be synced. If you go over here, you're going to see that I'm in here at the track, but in reality, this is like turn 1. I'm over here. So we're going to sync that manually, right? The way to sync it is right over here. If you go to this side, you go to sync telemetry, and then you're going to use this part over here with the offset slider or with the hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds to sync your video. So for example, we go to the offset slider, right? This is where we at right now. Now let's say that your data starts after the video. Like it says right here, data comes after the video. Then you want to go ahead and find exactly where that data starts. Now, if you do it just like this, it's going to be a little difficult because you don't know where the video is at the moment. So what I like to do is I like to go to the part of the video where I know what's going on. For example, this is a race start, and I want to make sure that I find a place where I shift so that I know exactly what gear I'm going from end to. So let's see. So I know that in this part, this was turn 1 after the race started, right after I let go of the gas. So now I have to look over here if the telemetry started in the moment that I was at the race line. Then we're going to sync the telemetry. We're going to go to the beginning, and now we look for it. Right? Cool. So once you have your telemetry synced into your video, you know that anytime you press play, it's going to be live. This information is going to be exactly what's going on over here in the video. So put it in pause and then start editing the gauges as you wish. If you go over here at gauge, you're going to see many different options. For example, there's the basic gauges. You can see acceleration and GPS, right? This is information that's going to give you. Now, anytime you add a new gauge, you can customize that gauge. Let's see an example. So we do a lot of racing, right? And then we're taking telemetry for racing stuff. So we click on racing. You can see in all of the different gauges that we can add. Let's say I wanted to add lean angle. So we press over here. I want the lean angle for 2 wheels. And then you're going to see, let's get rid of this one. Right. So this one over here in the middle is going to be the lean angle. Now, if you click on it, you can move it around, put it wherever you want in the screen. Now you can, over here in the appearance to the right, this menu is going to let you customize that specific gauge that you're clicked on at the moment any way you want. So if I'm clicked in this one, you can see I can customize the size, the colors, you know, every single thing that they have in there, I can customize it. It gives you plenty of room for stuff, right? Now, if I click on this one, same thing. The menu on the right is going to immediately change to customizing that specific gauge. So, for example, in this one, in the lean angle for the motorcycles, we want to make it look cool, right? 70 degrees of lean angle is too much, so we would probably go to the values part, and then we put the maximum at like 55, and you can see it over here changing to 55, right? I am not going to get into every single gauge in specific because there's a lot of them, but let's just click the ones I use the most for motorcycle racing, right? So that's the lean angle one. You already saw it. You can customize it as you wish over here. You have different options for every single little thing, every single little color. If you want to add background to it, if you want to rotate it, there's a lot of things to do with this, right? Now, if you click it and then you press the delete button, you're going to delete it, obviously. You can also click any of the gauges and you can press over here, delete gauge, Now, for motorcycle racing, I like to use the information from the telemetry of the motorcycle. And to use specific sensors to access those, you gotta go to the custom tab. So if you go custom, depending on which thing you want to display, let's say you want to display the traction control status, if it's on and off, if it's kicking in at the end of a corner, right? So you can choose any of those things, but usually you would wanna go custom positive negative, right? Now when you click it, it's gonna show you this page, the choose data for custom gauge. And then if you click over here to the left, it's gonna choose a sensor or a stream of data. So once you click in there, you're gonna get all of the different sensors that you have access to. Now there's 3 different sources over here. We have ECU, all of these first ones over here, right? These are all ECU, the ones that will have the ECU. So these are the ones recorded by the ECU of the motorcycle and then transferred to the data logger, okay? Then we also have the GPS, which is the actual data logger. It does have its own sensors. It has a gyro and it has a bunch of other stuff with the satellites, you know, that you can get a lot of more information. For the speed, it is the most accurate to choose the GPS one, right? So you can choose all of those from here. From the GPS in front, the internal battery of the GPS as well, the predictive time of the GPS, the recorded laps, everything from the data telemetry is right here, from GPS down until here. And then the camera also has its own sensors. The accelerometer, the date and time, the engine RPM, GPS, the gyroscope, and the voltage. Now, given if you go engine RPM from the camera, there's no way that it can, if you go create, it's not gonna give you any value because it's not recording the camera, right? So you have to choose a sensor that is actually getting data. Let's say we wanted to do brake pressure, right? And we wanna do it in the form of a graph, like this one I have over here. Let me delete it so we can do it from scratch. We're gonna delete this one as well that is not recording. So we're gonna go add gauge, custom, and in these are all the customs that you're gonna see. Now you wanna make sure that you choose the graph. The graph in this scenario would be custom scope, I believe. You can always hover over it and it's gonna give you a brief description of it. So it says allows to choose a numeric data stream, blah, blah, desired style, moving graph, yes. So this is the graph. And then we're gonna go over here and choose our sensor. We're gonna look for brake pressure front. So we have this one, ECU brake pressure front, if you have obviously a sensor for the brake pressure. And then this is required. I don't know the difference between these two, but I'm gonna say this one. Single value, create, there we go. That's our brake pressure data. Now, it's gonna look ugly at the beginning, but we're gonna make it look nice and fun. First off, we go over here to the right, and then we gotta choose the value type. So the units that brake pressure is usually measured in is gonna be bars right here. So we press bars, now we go back to bars, right? Now my brake pressure sensor is not calibrated because I changed my master cylinder, so forget about the number for now, but the graph is actually right because the pressure is right. So we got bars. We're gonna choose the color of our graph to be red because red means brake, right? Our gauge is going to be red as well because yes, and I don't want the top side, so we're probably gonna go over here to ticks, number 1 tick, that disappears the top line. I don't want to see the numbers because the numbers are wrong. So we're gonna go here. I don't want to see the value of it. That disappears the value. And then I don't want to see this as well. So we go to labels, numbers. I don't want to see no numbers. Now, the time. How much time do I want to see of brake pressure? I want to see the last 10 seconds. Okay, it's 10 seconds already. But if you wanted to do less or more time, let's say you want to see the last 5 seconds only. Here you go. That's the last 5 seconds. Let's say you want to see the last 40 seconds. Those are the last 40 seconds of brake pressure, right? But well, let's stick to 10 seconds. Now, you can choose to either see it all the way at the beginning or right here on 4C, you can move that into the middle of the graph so you can sort of see when a hard braking pressure is coming. Like, let's see over here. And then right here, right? So we haven't arrived at the corner yet, but we know it's gonna come, and brake, right? So you can see your actual brake pressure as it's happening. But this is still not good enough because it looks kind of ugly. So now we can go and actually make it look pretty. We can go into the path. We can fill it. So it gives you like a nice little shade under it. And then perhaps we can make it smaller, but then it's like too thin. So we want to make it taller, right? So we're going to go into the height. We do it like this. But now it is giving me the information very, very precisely. And it's like super spiky of the brake pressure because the brake pressure behaves like this, you know? I just want to make it look smooth for video purposes, right? We go over here down to smooth. We smooth that out. You see how the graph looks now? So let's say I just want to smooth it for 2 degrees. That way it still looks realistic, but I don't want any harsh stuff going on, right? So as you can see, as you skip through the video, that's going to be your brake pressure. And like that, you can do with everything. Now, as we did with the brake pressure, we can do the same thing with any other gauge. If instead of this being brake pressure, we wanted it to be the throttle. As you can see over here, this one, the throttle, we have it. Let's go to a part that we're applying throttle. Right here, we have half a throttle, right? But you're only seeing the actual throttle at the moment. Let's say you want to see it on a graph. Then you press on your graph, and you can just change what data is reading. So if you say telemetry source is going to be the front brake pressure sensor, then we change it to throttle. So where's throttle at? We go ECU, down, 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 TCS, no, TPS hand, right? So we have 2 throttles. We have the throttle positioning sensor at the hand, which is the actual throttle that you're giving it, and we have the ECU throttle because our bike is ride-by-wire. So, you know, these are going to be 2 different values. So let's go with what I'm actually giving it at the hand. Boom. So now we have the throttle. And if we add the values to it, let's go back and add the values over here. Boom. It's going to tell me exactly how much percentage of throttle I'm giving it. So as you can see, it looks about 41%. And down in here, it tells you it is 41%. Now it's throttle, you don't want to use a red color, right? So we go over here, we use a nice bright green color for this stuff. And then it's going to look like, wow, you're on the throttle 41%. Let's actually even give the text a bright green color. And then you can pretty much make it up, make it bigger, make it smaller. You want to add more decimals to it. You know, that information is extremely accurate, so you actually can. Anyways, back to the same thing. It is very customizable for anything that you decide to put in this graph. Let's add one more example before we jump into something else. Let's say we want to see the RPMs. Perfect. So we go ECU RPM right here. Boom. Confirm. This is the number of your RPMs. Let's say we want to do yellow. So we go yellow. Yellow. Perfect. So now we got RPMs in yellow. But let's say you wanted to add all of those graphs at the same time. Well, you can do that as well. You know, you can just either create a new one over here, or if you like the way this one looks, you can just click it. Over here, there's a button that says duplicate exact gauge. You click it, and then basically you have 2 of the same. So now you click on one of them, you go back over here, you choose your desired sensor, let's say ECU throttle, confirm. Now you have those 2 values, and then because it's gas, you're gonna go give it the green color. Sorry if I'm going too fast, but you can always slow down this video. Right? So now you have throttle over here, which, by the way, over here where it says labels, you can just title it and it says ECU throttle, and then, you know, boom, you go over here, labels, title, size, ECU RPMs. You can change the title over here. Let's say you say RPMs in 1000. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say you don't want to show this full number over here, 11,926. You just want to show 11K RPMs. You go times 1,000. And then to your RPMs original, you go RPM times 1,000. Boom. So now it shows you 12,000 RPMs. You don't need to show that much more. So now you have all of these different graphs. Let's duplicate it again. Let's even do the brake one as well. Over here, we go red, 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 red. Boom, boom,
Boom. There you go. The title is gonna be brake pressure. Perfect. Now we go down to the telemetry. We look for our sensor and brake pressure front. Brake pressure front, where are you? Brake pressure front, more up. There you go. Brake pressure front. Confirm. There is your brake pressure front. So you have all of these data that you can see at once, right? I like to sometimes overlay them. You know, I play around with the titles and in the stuff, but like I like to overlay them. You know, I can see the three of them at the same time in the same exact place. So pretty much it gives you the information laid down and easy to see. Obviously, you would have to play with the numbers and stuff so that everything is legible and nice. And then you see this little black bar over here. You can also go into your project right there. And then in there, you can choose, number one, the frame rate, 30. I always keep it at 30. I record in 30, and I keep this one at 30. The resolution, 4K. Always keep it at 4K. And then, we says shadow. That's for your letters. So if you add shadows to your letters, they're going to pop out more, right? So let's say you add a lot, then your letters are going to pop out more. Shadow distance. How far away you want that shadow from those letters? You know, do you want it to pop out a lot, or do you not want it to pop out a lot? Text border, color, and size. You know, it's like to give it a little shade behind the border of the letters. And then let's say you wanted to add that black bar. Then you go over here, color and opacity with the drawers. You, in the bottom, you want to add a lot. Boom, over here, right? If you want to add from the left. Let's say from the top. From the right, you get it, right? Let's say, in this instance, I'm recording from my shin mount, so I like to do it from the bottom. And then that way I can keep all of my information over here. But if I were recording from this camera, actually, I don't know if you can see it in there in the video, this Insta360 camera, I would probably be in this side of the video myself, and then this all else will be the road. So I would preferably go from the left, and I would pull all of my gauges in here like this. I go back to the gauges, I click on the one that I want, and I move it there. And then I make it smaller, you know. So it looks nice and aesthetic. Boom, so you can have all that information in there, right? We already have throttle, so we take this off, delete the throttle, perfect. So now all the information is showing on the left side. Same thing if you want to do it on the right, same thing if you want to do it on the top. It is very, very customizable. Now, I know I just threw a lot of information at you. Now, I know... Now, I know I just threw a lot of information at you, but basically if you're going to use this software, you have to get a little bit familiar with it. The main things that you're going to use are going to be the syncing of it. The moment you put the two videos, the moment you add your video into it, and then you add your telemetry if you have, and then you go to gauges, you have to sync your video. That way, you know what you're doing, and you know that the information given to you in here is exactly what's going on in here, okay? After you sync, you go to your gauges, and you start to pick the gauges that you want. If you don't need to use the custom gauges because you don't want to use them, you just want to use the ones that are in here, okay, no problem. If you do racing, it's going to give you some stuff. It gives you lap timer with the map, and then the lap time that you're at. Let's say we're on the third, fourth lap. It's going to give you right there all of the laps that you have. It's going to give you the best lap as well. And it's going to keep going. It's going to be live as you go. Now, let's say that you don't do racing, but you have a plane. Then you go back to add gauge. You go from racing to aerial. And then you want to do GPS, compass, slow, vertical speed, all that. It gives you a lot of stuff. The altitude. We don't do that a lot in racing, but look, you got altitude over here. Actually, we're changing a lot on this track, which is Road Atlanta. But still, you know, we're not changing more than a couple hundred feet. If it was a plane, you would be changing up a lot. Motorcycle racing, we don't experience a lot of G's. We probably do 2 at the most. But in car racing, you do experience a lot of G's. So maybe you want to go to racing again. Acceleration, boom. You can see the G's and the direction they're coming from, right? Like I said, motorcycle don't see a lot of G's. But, you know, in car racing, this would probably go like left, right, left, right, left, right, you know? Boom. Let's say this is your desired video and you like the way it looks. All the information in here is good. Everything's good. And you are ready to export your video. Before you export it, save this information so that when you come back in, you pretty much don't have to create this from zero. So you can go again to your patterns over here. And then you can just click Save Pattern. Chain mount, brake, throttle, RPM. Boom, and save that. So next time, let's say we just did, let's completely erase this, right? So next time that you go back in and then the moment you enter the app and you have something random in here, probably the last thing you used, you can just, okay, I'll load the pattern that I made about chain mount, brake, and RPMs. And then you just load it. And boom, it's ready to go. You don't have to do all that stuff that I just explained to you for the last like 25 minutes. You do it once and that's it. Patterns, where's YouTube? Lab telemetry, perfect. My go-to is this one. This is the one I like. You know, I get to see the throttle, brake pressure, slide, wheelie, TC, all the sensors that are popping up when I'm like on the gas. All right, so once you test out different things and you're happy with all of your gauges and your video, you're gonna go to the export button. And in here, you're gonna make sure you choose the part of the video that you want to export. If you want to export the whole thing, then you go straight ahead and export the whole thing. I like to export, for example, the race from the moment it starts, right? So it starts right about here, and then it ends when the last lap ends, which is right there. You see, that's my 4 laps. Now, this is going to be it from 17 seconds to the 7th minute. Now, in here, you're going to see all of the details of that export. So it's going to be in 4K at 30 frames per second. Now, the gauge update rate, I want to keep it at 1/2. And then same thing as we exported in H.264. Video quality, set that shit to the max. Render speed to the max. File size is going to be big. I don't care that it's big. And then that's pretty much it. And then you can choose where to export it. Let's just say, let's export it to the desktop. Boom. Right there. It goes save. You're gonna, not replace. We're gonna change the name. Blah, 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 blah. And then export. Actually, save first and then export. Now, it's gonna take a while. 5-10 minutes at the most if you're exporting a video as big as this one. This is like 5 gigabytes or so. All right, our video is about to finish, and it did. Perfect. As you can see over here, the moment it finishes, it'll tell you export done. You click open exported, and that's the video. It's gonna be in the desktop. So we're just gonna go into the desktop and look for our videos. This one over here. We click it, and voila! That's how you do it. Now you can learn like the pros. You know what I'm saying? For example, right here as I come. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Nice on the gas. Good. Right there. Mistake. Too much gas. You saw how my throttle went up there. TC came in and it bumped me a little out of the line. Mistake. You see, you cannot see these things when you don't have the telemetry. Let's see if I can find another one. Let's see. Oh, boom, right there. What happened? So we go down the S's, left, good, on the gas, perfect. Yes, yes. It's wheeling. I let it wheelie too much and I shifted as the wheel was in the air. So it slammed down and gave me a little wobble in there. You see, let's see. And I let go of the gas as well. Mistake. You see, I got passed. So now you know, when you're in turn 6, Road Atlanta, going up the hill, shift before you're wheeling so that the bike, when it slams down, doesn't fucking do that on you. You see? We're learning. We're learning. You can see if you're doing okay on your brake pressure. We can see if you're going actually 100% on the throttle. Let's see going into the back straight. Okay, 100%. Fine, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. Nice. This is good. We're 100% on the throttle. No problem. Let's see. On the kink. We let go. You see, we're on the kink. We're supposed to be 100%, but we let go. We're like 85, 90. All the way to 50 at the kink. Then up again. You see? That's how we catch the mistakes. Brakes, good, 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 good. Okay. Unloaded. Motorcycle's completely unloaded. Over here. I need to be doing something either on the gas or on the brakes. In here for like a second, I'm doing nothing. That's another thing that you cannot notice unless you're looking at the bike's telemetry. Let's see what more happens right after this. But anyways, that was it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them, okay? Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.